Okay. I think we cut a little short there. Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Silver Lining. My name is Greg, a.k.a. Silver Greg, a.k.a. Uncle Silver, a.k.a. Greg, whatever you want to call me. Welcome to The Silver Lining, the weekly geekly. I have to change that because that's never working. The weekly geekly talk show where we talk about whatever geeky topics we feel like talking about. Welcome, and it features myself and it features you guys, the chat. Because I love having you guys here to interact with. And for the second half of the show, you guys come up with the topics, so that's always a fun time. Greg X4, if you feel like it. I'll be drinking some coffee, then I got to take care of a few things. Nothing wrong with that. And hello, everybody in the chat there. We got Latimer, Elements, CT Scan. I saw some other names there. We'll address everybody as we get along here. But thank you all for stopping by. Thank you for Greg. You're wearing an Angry Birds shirt? No, I am wearing my Final Boss shirt from Too Many Games. Man, 2015, yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was one of the ones a while ago. Then I started getting guest passes and stopped buying the Final Boss pass, which sucks because now I'm missing out on the shirts. Spider's working on his animation, so him and a few others might be in a bit later. Okay, no problem. Listen, I'm just happy to have people show up and want to participate in the chat. That's all I ever really want from everybody. Of course, if you want to follow and subscribe and donate bits and do all that kind of stuff, you well to do that too. But yeah, the thing that I want more than anything is for people to get involved with the conversation and have a conversation. Although today's topic might be sort of a dangerous topic to get into. This Windows 10 update, anyone know if I'll be okay without it? Oh, there's supposed to be some creators update or something. I don't even know if you can avoid them. I don't actively get them. I basically just wait until they kind of force it on me. Hey Mambo, yes, a polarizing topic, Mambo, is probably the best word for it. So I'm never really sure how this goes. I like danger. Yeah. Streaming when I'm sleeping, eh? Oh, I'm sorry, Awesome. Awesome. You should be here every Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you're not going to be here, you should set your alarm. That's what you should be doing. I smell social commentary. Maybe. Hey, Siberian Ninja. I finally have bits. Maybe. I mean, we'll see what happens. It is forcing to update, but never successfully does. Yeah, CT scan, then just wait for it to successfully do it. Was buffering a bit there. Just had to do a quick refresh. Okay, no problem. Who knows? It's probably my end of the stream. I mean, my stream little green thing is healthy, so we're good for right now. Before we get into the topic, I just want to talk a little bit about the week. It's been kind of a crazy week. We had, as of this recording, they just announced Spyro with the Spyro Remastered Trilogy, which is kind of awesome. I was not a huge Spyro person, but I remember talking to people who really, really enjoyed it. And it's the first 3 Spyro games. What is Spyro, Enter the Dragon, and Year of the Dragon or something? That little thing next to your TV, a small Wii or a box that just looks like a Wii. Oh, that is a small Wii. That is a... Can I reach it? This was a gift card holder that I got one year. I don't even think I bought it for anybody, and I don't think it was bought for me. I don't remember if it was bought for me or not. Yeah, but it's a little gift card holder. Right now, it's got some Yu-Gi-Oh cards in it for some reason. And a Pokemon Energy card. Ooh, Mystical Space Typhoon. I didn't know that was in there. Okay. Oh, Enter the Dragonfly. Okay, Enter the Dragonfly. Now, the question is, though, you say we don't speak of Enter the Dragonfly. Was it because the graphics were bad or something? Because they're about to fix all of that. So you might be getting 3 playable games here. Greg got an advanced copy of the Wii Classic. I should get a RetroPie and stuff it in there, and then just check out my little Wii console. Yes, but Ripto's Rage. Thank you. The Ripto's Rage was the second one. And then the third one was Year of the Dragon. Okay, there we go. Show the energy card. It's a water energy. I don't know why I have that. I have no idea where that came from. It was like Wrath of Cortex. Okay. Keep kids safe. Always keep a mystical space typhoon with you. You know, it's funny. I used to keep not Magic Cylinder. There was Magic Cylinder, and then there was, because Magic Cylinder would take your, here, I'm gonna Yu-Gi-Oh nerd out for you. Magic Cylinder would take the damage that was coming in and then send it back to your opponent. I had one that would take the damage that was coming in and turn it into healing. And I used to keep it in my wallet because I thought it was a nice reference to the kind of thing you should do with negativity. You know, rather than take negativity and send it back to other people, why not take negativity and find a way to turn it into positivity? And I always thought that it was kind of weird to keep that in my wallet, and then every time I see it, like, okay, be positive about what's negative. Hey Mendez. Topics. My Pokemon. I did not have Pokemon card days. I never have played the Pokemon card game. I was working at a video game store and sold Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and then one day we decided to have some of the kids show us how to play it, and we bought tins and packs, and we were hooked from that day forward. I think it's more the game was a rushed. Okay, half-baked mess. Okay, Change of Heart. No, it wasn't Change of Heart. Draining Shield. Thank you. Awesome, sir. See, I knew if you're confused about something, just mention that you're confused about it with a few details, and the people around you that know it will come out all over the place. Go to anywhere where there might be a geeky population and misquote a line from Lord of the Rings or Star Wars, and I guarantee you'll get a bunch of people that are either going to give you looks or excuse me, it was actually this line. Motivational trading card game. Mambo, I wish there was a motivational trading card game out there. Although trading card games usually make us feel pretty good, right? Change of heart in his wallet. Change of heart in his wallet will pull it out. Needless to say, the officer didn't have a change of heart and gave him a ticket. Well, Lady Fox, what he should have had was a snatch steal and then grabbed the ticket book and then just drove off. My dad used to have a business card that he and a few others would hand to people who talked to too much that read, "Pleasure to meet you. I'm a bullshitter too." Ain't nothing wrong with that. Well, there's something wrong with it, but you know, I'm a rambler, so I probably have a stack of those cards. I get looks passing by. Who needs misquotes? Okay. Let's oh no, wait, you know what else? I just saw this. I like 10 minutes before I went online. They're doing an SNK collection for the Switch, which is like 13 SNK games, which is stuff like Guerrilla War and Athena and Alpha Mission, Ikari Warriors, which is very interesting. They were okay games, but Crystalis, I always called it Crystalis or Crystalis, is on there, which I am ridiculously happy about. Is it here? How do I always? That's the good thing about having a small room, is that half of this stuff is right in arm's reach. Crystalis. This is such a good game, and I may actually play it on stream one day. Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah. I'm gonna pay for it, and it's September, I think. I'm gonna pay for it, and all I want is Crystalis. I guess the other games are worth playing. I mean, I played the heck out of Ikari Warriors 1 and 2. I never played 3, which I have, but just never played it. I played Athena. I played Alpha Mission. I actually played a lot of Alpha Mission. These are all on NES, by the way. I don't know that I've ever played these particular games anywhere else. Yeah, no Bomberman, no Metal Slug. The thing with Metal Slug, and some games like that, is that Metal Slug especially, you're more likely to see, and we've seen it a dozen times already, Metal Slug anthologies, where it's all Metal Slug games. You're more likely to see stuff like that. Bomberman's kind of the same thing, but I don't think you would see Bomberman like that, just because every Bomberman kind of plays the same. Crystalis, or is as in Latin for crystal or Crystalis. Yeah, it's a chrysalis. Yeah. Sort of like that. Yeah, Crystalis or Crystalis. I don't know. I don't. No one ever knows how. We had this talk before where nobody ever knows how this stuff is pronounced because we grew up in generations where they didn't say they didn't talk in the games, so nobody knew what to say. Okay, so I want to get into today's topic, and I have no idea where this topic is going to go. We get a lot of situations where, especially nowadays, with the Me Too thing, and just we find out the stuff that just happened with Channel Awesome, especially the stuff that just happened with Channel Awesome, with all the controversy. If you're not familiar with it, look it up. I'm not going to get into it here. It's a huge, massive thing, but the short version is that there was a lot of bad behavior on the part of the leadership of Channel Awesome. We had the thing with the Fine Brothers last year, I think, where they were kind of crummy. There's to say about Channel Awesome as well. This is not about Channel Awesome. What this is about is I had two ways to approach this topic. Should you separate art from the artist? And the first topic is, should you separate art from the artist? When you find out that somebody who did something bad, who either a criminal or they're just immoral for some reason, they create a game. Do you avoid the game because of what that person did? And the problem with that is you get into situations where if it's one guy, if all of this Channel Awesome stuff was just Doug Walker, do you stop watching his channel? Probably, but, and I'm sorry to name drop. I really don't mean to do that. I don't mean to point people out in specific, because I don't even know that was actually him or not. But what happens when these people who do these crappy things are associated with organizations, and in order to shun this person for what they did, you're going to shun other people? You know, should you separate art from the artist? Should you say, okay, this guy's a jerk and I'm not going to support him, but this is a good game, but this is a good company? You know, a lot of people hated the stuff that the Fine Brothers did last year, but do you still watch their channels? Do you still watch their videos when they pop up? Depends on whether or not you want to separate enjoying the content from stuff. And Mambo, that's kind of it. That's kind of it. That's essentially the topic is, do you want to enjoy? Do you want to enjoy it despite the fact that the person who made it is probably a jerk, or more importantly, that somebody associated with making it is a jerk? Experiment, a basic TLDR of Channel Awesome: incompetent business decision, sociopathic CEO, harassment, and in one specific case, child grooming. That's a great way to put it. Now, here's the problem. You have people at Channel Awesome who are affiliated with Channel Awesome, who are openly affiliated with that channel, who had nothing to do with any of that. So do you recommend that they separate? Do you, or let's talk about you as a viewer first. Do you as a viewer slash and burn all of that stuff out of your life? Or do you pick and choose? Or do you say, okay, these people were bad, but the content is good. Now that we know, it's going to change. Hey, Shade. You seem to arrive at a wonderful time. I would hope so. Yeah, what a wonderful topic you walked in on. Yeah, the topic is do you separate art from the artist? Should you separate art from the artist? Should you a good example was last E3, they demoed a game called The Last Night. Game looked awesome. It was a real sort of crime noir pixelated game, looked super cool, had a great sort of Blade Runner vibe to it, but apparently one of the people that worked on it was associated with some sort of crime. He was accused of something, it's easy to say, oh, well, I'm not going to play that game because that guy's horrible. But it also kind of screws over all the other people that worked on it. So the question is, should you just say, okay, you know what? They did a good job, but they worked with this guy. They don't deserve it. Banish all these peeps to EXP's island. I think it's let me go back here for a little bit. Depends on whether or not it's a case-by-case basis. Depends on if you enjoyed their work before allegations arose. There wasn't something with the Rurouni Kenshin creator had allegations towards pedophilia. Yeah, so for the Rurouni Kenshin creator, if there were allegations of pedophilia, do you stop watching the show? You know, House of Cards, like they kicked what's his name off the show. They essentially canceled the show after Spacey was accused of something. Do you? Oh, here we go. Siberian Ninja. That's a good question. Here's an example. Hitler was a great artist, and some people want to excuse what he did because of it. I would never excuse what someone did. I would never excuse that. I would never say, well, that's a funny comedian, so it's okay if he groped women or something like that. I would never say that. But for the Hitler situation, would you hang a painting? If you hung a painting in the house and you said, this painting is amazing, and someone said Hitler painted that. First of all, holy crap. But if they said, okay, Hitler painted that, would you then take the picture down? Or would you say, okay, well, Hitler painted it, but it's still, regardless of that, it's still an awesome painting. And that's where the separation comes from, because if you can do that, you're separating one from the other. If you can't, you are associating. You are saying that this art came from a horrible person, so this art is horrible at its core, right? Whether it looks good, it's crappy at its core. It's not weird to judge us if any of the people who didn't do anything decided not to jump ship. Okay. This is such an ace trainer, and that's exactly why I said this is kind of a polarizing topic, because I have a feeling that there are a lot of people who are going to say yes, and a lot of people who are going to say you should separate from that. To be honest, I don't think I've had a situation where I figured out something I like was made by a complete asshole. Accepting Turner. Yeah, it's hard to know, because a lot of the time they don't bring this stuff up. But nowadays, you know, I was a Louis C.K. fan, and I have trouble watching videos of him making jokes because I know that there were some crappy things that he did, and he admitted it. He was, as bad as it sounds, he was upfront about the horribleness of it. But it's difficult. Later, awesome. You know, but it's difficult to sit there and laugh at the jokes and think that that's what happened, even though the jokes were funny. You know what I mean? It's always weird to do that. Along with House of Cards. Yeah. Yeah. What Hitler did is a few notches above the usual stuff created. Yes. Hitler was kind of a long distance away from what they were doing. I would hang a painting of Hitler's work. He did have good work, plus the value of it would be immense and have a history behind it. Yeah, see, so I wonder, and of course, obviously in that situation, and here you go, and that is actually a relevant issue. What is the subject of the art? If I find out that an artist that I liked who painted scenes of children turned out to be a pedophile, I would have a problem hanging that picture. I don't want to look at that picture and be inside the head of the person who painted it while he was painting it. You know, there might be something to that. There might be, I mean, like you said, there's a lot of gray area here, and I think that might be one of the gray areas as far as what you're creating. It's a historical artifact. Well, yeah, the fact that it's Hitler is gigantically, that creates a much different situation. But you see what I mean, where these people, they get accused of these crimes, and that's another thing. They get accused of these crimes. See, unfortunately, and this is probably going to piss a lot of people off. Unfortunately, we do live in a innocent until proven accused society, which is it hits the news and it hits social media that this person was accused of something, and the immediate turn is, whoa, they're horrible. But realistically, that's an accusation. It's not the actual thing. If they come out and say it, yes, they're horrible. I mean, we've heard allegations of rape across the board from lots of different people, and unfortunately, we do know that there are those women out there who make those claims because people will listen to them and because they probably want money. I'm not saying that that's the majority of what's happening or anything like that, but realistically, somewhere in the mix of all of that, there is probably some of that going on. You know, so but once they get accused without a trial, everybody shuns them. Depends on the person for me. What did they specifically comment on? Malcolm actually commented on it from, okay. And I think it's good to single out the people who did the awesome stuff. Yeah, hit them where they hurt. Yeah, Shade, hit them right in the wallet. That's definitely the best thing to do. Teach them a lesson if you're able. But the people who are truly innocent shouldn't be hit with the same. And that's the thing. Like it's, you know, they shouldn't be hit with the same punishment. So, but when they work on something, when you find out that the lead developer of a game was a horrible person, I have trouble pointing out one crime or the other because everybody has their own idea of what's the worst. But you know, even the worst stuff, I'll point it out. Even if you do want to say that they're a pedophile or something like, or a rapist or something like that, how do you hit them in their wallet without buying but still buy the game to support all the other people who worked on that game? Is this stream going to end with you coming out about the time you stole candy from a baby? I never stole candy from a baby. Toddlers aren't babies. Just associative comment is that I never stole candy from a baby. Toddlers aren't babies. Two separate comments. There's something like that on Twitter. Yeah, there's always going to be a taint to these elements. Bad choice of words, elements. There's always going to be a taint to these things. We know, and we're trying to weed out the people who try and touch that taint. It would depend on the content and the context behind it. Yeah. As for separating art from artists, it really should depend on who you are. Not everyone should do one thing. Yeah, I think so. I think that that's an important thing. I definitely think everybody should be doing what they want to do. But you know how it is. If somebody wants to do it, it is essentially politics. In a way, it boils down to a version of politics. You can want to do one thing and somebody else does another, but it's very easy for somebody to say, "Oh, well, you're going to still support them," and then judge you for it. You know what I mean? You still do what you're going to do, but there is that sort of, you know what? Let's just not even talk about it. Which is probably why I was interested in talking about it. You need evidence for everything. The whole Harvey Weinstein fiasco, yeah. I don't think he hasn't been held accountable. As far as I know, for all of that stuff that went on with Harvey Weinstein, he has not, there have been no trials or anything. The only thing I do know about Harvey Weinstein is that his version of behavior has been noted for years. If you ever watched Entourage, there was a character, I forget what the character's name is, but he was this giant a-hole. Everybody said the same thing. Like the character even looked like Harvey Weinstein. Everybody said that was supposed to basically be him without actually being him. And that was years before any of this stuff really came out in the media. So they knew it. You know what I mean? People knew what was going on. Another example, R. Kelly had good music, but he did questionable things with young females. Should you be listening to his music? Should you be buying his album? Even though there are producers and writers and people who make money and are supported from that work, from this guy who did this horrible thing. Buy it used. You're a monster. Unfollowed. Taint isn't taint, not your undercarriage. Babies shouldn't have candy. Said exactly, Shade. Shade. Public service. That's what I provide when I take candy from children. public service. Brings up Konami. Konami is a big one. That's a big relevant one for us, for video gamers. Yeah, would you support Konami with Metal Gear, Castlevania? Even though, let's be real, they've probably been they haven't had the same influence, and they haven't been the same company for a long time now. All I see is a guy keeps saying taint. I cannot stand the way you tease. Yeah, been a few gags about his behavior in the media, and that's a thing. Elements is that there have been gags about his behavior before, which means that people knew about it. It's not new, you know. And I can't, all of the stuff, the Channel Awesome stuff, you can't tell me that that's new. Obviously it's not, because we're hearing that it's been going on for a while. So why are we just here? I mean, obviously we're hearing about it now because people are, you know, people have gotten fed up, and now that the floodgates have opened, everybody who can talk about it wants to talk about it. Okay, let me see here. As someone who know nothing about what happened, I still watch Channel Awesome to show the people I like and think they're funny. Yeah. King Chaos, so you're of the, now King Chaos, let me ask you, will you actively avoid finding out what happened with Channel Awesome? Like, will you actively not read the documents or any kind of summary? The one guy that, I don't know if he was the guy that released the documents or not, there was a live stream a couple days ago of them reading the entire, 38 pages or something like that. I'm sure Kelly's stuff isn't so special that you couldn't go to another artist. Mambo, that's a good point. Can you just move on to somebody else? I mean, obviously as a viewer you can, you know, but you are separating yourself from, you know, that's called throwing out the baby with the bathwater. You're avoiding the problem entirely. You're getting rid of the problem entirely, but you're in the process, you're also getting rid of the kind of things that you were there for in the first place, which is good content, or at least, you know, to support somebody. Hey Greg, I heard you wanted to talk about a controversial topic concerning creators and their action. Well, Aqua, it's more about separating yourself from their creations. You know, can you do that, or should you do that? Like, should you avoid it? Yeah, the whole Me Too thing has really opened up the floodgates. I got that live stream VOD open right now. Yeah, there we go. It's 5 hours long. Kind of wanted to watch all of it. Yeah, stick it in Discord. Yeah, it's okay. So it was 5 hours long. I mean, you could just download, it and listen to it in the car to learn what happened, but it won't change how I feel. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so you have no problem, and I'm not judging you. I'm just saying that's what it seems like. You don't seem to have too much of a problem separating the creation, the creator from the creation, separating that and saying, okay, what happened was terrible, but the content that they create is still enjoyable, so you still support it. Okay, that's interesting. JonTron can be another example when he put politics and his views and opinions on something during his interview. Like, so what? That's his opinion on something, and people take that out of context and bash him on it. I can see where he puts his stance on something, but doesn't input that into his work. Okay. I want to watch him because I still enjoy the content he produces. The JonTron thing is a little interesting because maybe I'll have to watch it again, or maybe I'll have to listen to it again, because for the JonTron thing, I don't remember him actually saying he felt a specific way. For some reason, I have to listen to it again because maybe I only heard a snippet of it. Maybe I heard the wrong snippet of it. But I could have sworn that he was doing that thing where he was talking about how other people might feel, and everybody took that as what he said. And I don't remember that. I no longer like his content, but I like his jokes. I can't resist. I have several questions. You know what, Siberian? And I can't resist the when I don't like where this is going, and then it's that whole clip that they always fill it with different anime, like Dragon Maid and stuff. For some reason it always makes me laugh, even though like the guy might have said some controversial things. For me, I don't watch CA nowadays. I've read the document, and the And the one thing I only watch now is the First Watch series. Okay. Hey, Splat Cat, thank you for the host. He did put out an apology explanation on the second channel and how he didn't really have the words for what he was trying to say. Yeah, I remember that. And I remember hearing it and thinking, he didn't actually say he felt this way. It sounded like he was describing what some people might feel. Like, you know what I mean? Where you can understand why some people feel a certain way, even if you don't agree with it yourself. And I just remember thinking, did he actually say something horrible? I'm not sure that I actually heard it. People do tend to bend things around to hear what they want to hear. Yep. And then put the blame on someone to spark controversy. Yeah. Do you know if there's a video that sums up the issues channel Awesome is going through? I don't know if there's a video for it. No, the 5-hour video is of reading a document that came out from previous employees that chronicled a lot of their mistreatment and the mismanagement of the company. There have been some summaries of it. I'm sure if you look online, you can find some summaries of the document itself. The video is just the 5-hour video is just them reading the document. So that's not a summary at all. But yeah, there are a lot of breakdowns of what the document, some of the worst parts that the document contained. And, excuse me, even I've read a couple of those summaries. I started reading the document and it was earlier this week that I started reading it. So I with between work and everything, I wasn't able to get all the way through it. But yeah, there are some summaries. I did read some summaries, and some of the stuff I read was kind of crummy. There was a lot of, I mean, I want to try not to say too much because I can't. I'm thinking off the top of my head. I just know that there was a lot of lunchroom tactics. You know, cliques formed within this group of, you know, they were supposed to be supporting everybody, but it's if you're not a huge person, you don't get as much support. I know that there was some of that going on, and there were a lot of other issues. I know me and Spider were discussing the JonTron thing. I still watch him, but we were saying that since his production value went up, his quality of jokes went down. Oh, okay. And I did feel people rushed to conclusion. Yeah, they rushed to conclusion, and they're kind of, that's kind of a thing nowadays. You know, if someone comes out and says, hey, this person did something, there's an immediate reaction before anybody says, okay, well, let's verify that this thing happened, and let's hear from the person who did this thing or who is being accused of doing this thing to see. There's a lot of, they did this thing, well, they're horrible. And there's no follow-up as to whether or not they even did it. And the danger of that, the biggest danger of that is that when there is something that comes out, when something comes out to say that that thing didn't happen, the damage has been done, because all people do is they read the headlines, they listen to the initial conversation, they react the way they think they're supposed to react if somebody did this thing, and then they don't actually follow it up with any more information and say later on, oh, well, we found out that he didn't do that. You know, there's a lot of people who, well, the last thing I heard was that he did this and that. I'm going to head out. I need to take a shower. Oh, thank you, Lady Foxheart. Thank you. Have a great one. Lady Foxheart, I believe, is going to be streaming later. I believe so, right? Yeah. I've watched JonTron's recent stuff. I still listen to the random remixes from years ago. He's one of the channels I got back to after avoiding his channel for a while. I don't really talk about it much on Twitter since I know him, and since I know I have followers who justifiably sour to him. You say the word click, so I presume you watched the snippet of Pat the NES Punk's podcast. I think I watched it. Yeah. But I mean, I watched it, but I got that when I read some of the things before about what was going on in some of that stuff, because that's how it feels to me when I think of that, kind of behavior, when I see, because I've been to parties for stuff like that, and I've seen certain creators sidle up to each other, and when other creators, you know, smaller guys, I've seen the smaller guys sit with the smaller guys and the bigger guys sit with the bigger guys. It's understandable because there is a sort of mutual understanding of each other, and that always, you know what I mean? When you go to your job, the the guys that work in the back room hang out with the guys that work in the back room, and the managers sit with the managers. Because of the nature of what they do for a living, there's an understanding there. But there's not a whole lot of crossover, and that to me always reminded me of that's probably the biggest time most of us will experience that is the lunch. That's why I call it lunchroom behavior, where, you know what I mean, the jocks sit with the jocks and the nerds sit with the nerds, and the cool kids sit with the cool kids. You know, and that's why I always put it to that, and I always call it cliques. No one wants to be the guy that defends the terrible. Yeah, and that's it, Mambo. No one wants to be that guy. No one wants, when somebody says, "Hey, this guy's a racist," no one wants to be the first person that says, "Are we sure? Should we maybe find out before we start calling him a racist? Should we find out what happened and what was said and who was accusing this person, because maybe they've got some sort of vendetta against them and they're making it up?" You know, there isn't enough of that. People look for excuses to let anger out on people. That's interesting. Yeah. I see. Concerning there being cliques in this group, reminds me of a video from Channel Awesome I seen years ago, in which the content creators who were not as big brought up something like that. Yeah. You know, they talk about inside these networks that they're trying to help everybody out, but if a guy with 500 subs or 1,000 subs went to somebody with 500,000 subs and said, "Hey, if you've got a minute, I would love to, you know, I'm doing a video about this and you do this all the time, so could I get a snippet?" And they start, no, you know, and they just immediately shut them down. That's a little cliquey. You know, obviously everybody has their own time, and maybe they legitimately don't have time for it. But I kind of feel like the idea of a network in that way is so that these people can network together and be able to work something out. And from what the documents were saying, there was a lot of that sort of lunchroom behavior in there. The worst part about JonTron was they removed him from Ukulele. Yeah, and that's a knee-jerk reaction, because now nobody cares. Well, see, the one thing about that, I think it sucks, but at the same time, JonTron's not hurting for money. You know, that flex tape video he did a few months ago has like 15 million views, so he's still... He may not be rolling in cash, but he's doing fine. But he's still in the hat in time. I watched that today, so the word... let me think you watched that. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, Elements. I'm pretty sure I did watch that one. But I knew I had this topic that I wanted to bring up, but I wasn't going to talk. That's why the topic isn't specifically about Channel Awesome. It's basically just about when these Channel Awesome Fine Brothers last night, when these situations arise, you know, should you separate the art from the artist? Shane Dawson situation. No, someone making a parody of his pretty cool conspiracy videos, basically saying he fancies children. See, there we go. It was a huge joke. The person cut up an old podcast. Shane lost so much funding for a little bit. Stuff like that can really ruin. Yeah, it can really ruin a person. And when they said that, this is a headline society filled with a one-sided lynch mob. Unqualified gamer, welcome. And yes, that is probably the best way to do it. And Shane just put a perfect example of it. Nobody questioned, nobody stopped and said, well, where is this coming from? What's the situation? Who is it doing this? They just automatically said pedophile and attacked. Is that footage from 4 years ago? Could be part of this, but the group and Channel Awesome got too big to the point cliques began forming. Yeah, because I've learned in recent years that close groups are only formed by a few people. You can have a kind of intimate relationship with a large group of people. Okay. Topic has reminded me how much I hate the hive mind. Yes, Siberian Ninja, I'm not a hive mind person. I was always I have a few close friends and that's it, because the bigger the group of people I'm hanging out with, the more mob mentality, and that's what it is. It's mob mentality. They get themselves, someone gets themselves worked up into a frenzy, and then everybody wants to do it. You think it's still a problem with YouTube and people feeling left out versus being very popular? And you can't see each subscriber, every single subscriber of a person was at a panel. Yeah, YouTube and stuff is a little difficult because there are a lot more creators. You know, I imagine there are more creators now than there have ever been, and that number is probably just going to keep going up, whether it's YouTube or Twitch. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there who are upset and they get frustrated because they've been doing something for so long and they've got 20 subscribers, and then somebody comes up on the scene and they've got 1 million subscribers. You know, I was pretty pissed off about that whole Will Smith. They made a big deal out of giving him his play button because he got 1 million subscribers, and it's like, he's a multi-millionaire and super duper world celebrity. If he starts a social media account anywhere, there's going to be 1 million people that follow him just because he's Will Smith. He didn't put in the time and the work. You know, he's not doing the stuff that we're doing, that everybody else is doing. And I'm not even doing the stuff that they're doing because I'm low rent compared to what some of these other people are doing with 10 and 20,000 subs. Hell, I have what, almost 1,500 subscribers on YouTube right now. My production value is nothing compared to videos I've seen with people with 500 subscribers. That's fair. It's just the fact that the CA doc is a big thing right now. Oh yeah. Elements. I'm not trying to get into it. I'm not mixing it up with you or anything. I'm just saying that. Yeah, that's it. It's just sort of, it's relevant in multiple directions. You know what I mean? This is the Channel Awesome thing is not a new thing. It's just new for them. It's the same situation over and over again. Now there is another question that I want to ask though, because the topic up to this point has been, should you separate art from the artist? My other question is, can you? Is it even, and this is more of a yes or no sort of thing, but it's kind of, it's almost the same question, really. But can you? Is it even possible for you to play a game and look at the game? Is it possible for you to play Fez and not think of how horrible of a person Phil Fish has made himself out to be? I don't know the guy. I don't personally know him. I'm not going to say anything super negative about him, but I know that the way, and this is the best way I can say it, I don't know that somebody is a horrible person. I know what they portray themselves to be, and when an idea of who they are comes out, they do nothing to stop it. And I know that that's what happened. Apparently this got brought up on CA like 4 years ago. Okay. I still say it's a case-by-case basis. Okay. Being in on it doesn't. It's a big thing, and people slam the whole game because of it. Yeah, and that's the thing. People will always slam the whole game. That's why I said, like, if somebody who worked on a game turns out to be a terrible person, they're just going to slam the game. No one's going to say, well, I'm going to, the lead graphic designer was a horrible person, so I'm going to hate the graphics but love the rest of it. No, they're just going to say, I'm not going to play the game. And that's what a lot of people do. It's really just yes and no. If that person kicks puppies and burns them alive, I can no longer support that person. I mean, maybe if Fez was like super guy, it was a good game. I'm not gonna lie, it was a good game. I thought Phil was just incompetent, but Fez is decent enough. Yeah, I thought Fez was a decent game. So it's weird to separate. And I you know what? That was probably an unfair comparison, not because of him or anything, but because he didn't commit any crimes, as far as I know. I'm pretty sure he was just kind of obnoxious. And because I did see interviews with him, and I do remember thinking, this guy is probably a nice enough guy, but he's not my cup of tea. But there was that end game puzzle. Okay. Where's the whole love or hate for Space Channel 5 because of Michael Jackson's cameo? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. There was a cameo of him in Space Channel 5. The first one or the second one? Wasn't there a second one? Whether someone can separate a person's actions from their creations is dependent on their moral. If they, yeah, see, Aqua, it depends, because when you say it depends on their morality, I'm guessing is the word there. When it depends on their morality, in a way, that kind of calls the person in question into question. You know what I mean? If someone was to, if there was a guy that kicks puppies, and somebody said, "I still like that guy," somebody else could say, "Well, of course you still like that guy. You're a horrible person. You know, you're immoral. Your morality says it's okay." That's kind of a slam on that middle person. You know what I mean? I should have like a chart here. This should be like one of those things where there's a glass and I write on it. But yeah, it's that becomes the association. Whether are you a decent, if you call somebody's morality into it, that becomes the associate. You could tell who somebody is by the people they hang out with. It becomes that sort of situation. So I try not to take it there, but unfortunately some people do see it as going there. He was a little cameo in part 1, and in part 2 he ran Space Channel 5. Okay. Because why must I type novels? Because because it's a big question. Hey, you were such a better help to Johnny than Nathan was. Oh, that's for the Zelda thing. Yeah. And yes, the shade. It's because it is a big topic, and it might be a bigger topic than 1 hour for here. To be honest, this is probably a topic that could best be handled by multiple people in a room at once, which is why I wasn't just going to make a video on it, but it's also why I did want to discuss it here with you guys, because this is I feel there's a better conversation here with more feedback. What about Space Channel 6 or 7? It's the difference between liking that person and liking their work. That could be it. Elements that could definitely be it. And again, I think that a lot of it comes down to what they did. Silver Lining goes into its 3rd hour for the first time ever. Yeah, I think a lot of it is are we hating them because of what they did, a specific thing that they did, or are we hating them because we just don't like them as a person? You know, because there are people out there who portray themselves as a-holes. You know, they portray themselves as douchebags. And personality-wise, that's terrible. But they didn't actually commit any crimes. You know what I mean? A lot of people always badmouth Kanye West, and they talk about how he's very arrogant, or he's self-centered, this or that. They talk about all these things, and it's like, okay, but he's not actually committing any crimes. He's not actually hurting anybody. He just has a personality type that you don't like. Go ahead and like his music. I remember I used to think Limp Bizkit was a great band, even though I thought Fred Durst was kind of a douche. And it's so weird. Like, I try and be so nice and friendly, but at the same time, there are some people who just they're jerks. They're douchebags. Make a part 2 topic and spring it on. This discussion is applicable to Channel Awesome controversy running rampant right now. Yeah, that Shatter. That's exactly why. That's one of the reasons why we're talking about it. And get rid of the taint. Okay, Elements. We're not talking about undercarriage. I'm wondering about Sonic 3 and Knuckles. That's what inspired me to do it. Yeah, that's kind of what inspired me to do it. You know, we have somebody mentioned it earlier, Metal Gear and Castlevania games. You know, when there's a new Metal Gear and Castlevania game, is there an inclination to just automatically dismiss it because it's Konami? And Konami is an interesting situation because, and EA is a great example of that, because here you don't have a specific person doing a specific thing. Here you have an entire company whose entire behavioral model behind the scenes is terrible. So do you not support those games on that basis? Full disclosure, I don't want to play PUBG at all, because I think that the whole thing with the Game Awards, when they managed to get themselves into the Game Awards for a nomination, even though they broke the rules because their game wasn't officially out of beta yet. So I thought, to me, it just feels like there was a lot of shady stuff going on behind the scenes. A lot of money was trading hands. So on principle, because of the business, the way the business was run on a whole, I feel like I can't possibly support that game. But if one person did something, that becomes the question of, is that enough to make you stop supporting it? Get rid of the person behind the project just to save face. That's interesting. Oh yeah, today's topic is not sponsored by Gatorade. They had nothing to do with this. Today's whole episode, not sponsored by Gatorade. I'm just thirsty sometimes. Oh, EA, you used to be so cool. I don't know about that, Black Hat. No, EA did some pretty cool stuff. Agreed, sadly, I can only see Kanye West getting more respect the day he passes. And then the focus is primarily on his music. Yeah, everybody will ignore that kind of stuff. But again, he didn't actually commit any crimes or do anything, Kanye West. He just, people view him as a negative kind of person. And he didn't actually commit any crimes. He hasn't been accused of anything. Yeah, Michael Jackson, I think that a lot of people put aside some of the stuff that he was accused of, which again, I from what I understand, he was accused, but there were a lot of settlements out of court, which is always kind of shady to me. Not you, Shade, regular Shady. Konami would make Castlevania games with $10 save slots. Yeah, you have to pay 2 cents per whip. Here's a different side of this. What about instances where it's not the creator did something horrible, but that the work is related to something horrible? Oh, okay. Like, oh, Mambo, you're talking about like going to see Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, where didn't one of the Spider-Mans or stunt doubles die or something, and people would still go to the show? Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. That's a little bit interesting, because then you get into the situation of, should people go watch NASCAR because every once in a while somebody could die? You know, do you watch horse racing? Do you watch horse racing even though you don't know what condition those horses are in? I think that's an entire topic on its own, because yeah, then you're talking about something else. I don't know if the horse racing one applies, but don't get me wrong, I completely concur why Kanye is not favored. He would say some wild stuff. Yeah, but things clean up often when the story is over. Kanye is a weird guy. And again, I don't know the guy. I've never met him. I will probably never meet him, but that is the situation where he does kind of get portrayed that way. The one thing I will, when it comes to Kanye West, when it comes to any of these other celebrities, whenever they say, oh, well, he attacked the paparazzi, I will almost always sidestep that as any kind of judgment of their character, because I know if somebody followed me around with cameras all day and was taking pictures of me and my family and stuff, you would see me on the news every 2 days having to buy somebody a new camera. That would always be the case. So I never use that as a judgment for how they should behave. Shady boy. Nintendo did during the time of the 64. Well, yeah, Nintendo during the time of the NES, when they were trying to muscle everybody out, manipulate stocks and stuff like that. Something I believe is that more people can and will show their true colors with the right situation. Terrible fans of a community will really make themselves known. Just have to wait them out. Yeah, that's a good point. People will always step up. They'll always step up and show you who they really are in one way or another. EA made the first 3 Harry Potter games, which were fun. Yeah, they were fun Zelda clones. Other than the Quidditch World Cup. So, yeah, they did make some good stuff. I tease them, but you know, they wouldn't be popular if they never made anything good. That's the whole thing with John Landis's work. Konami was my A+ company, and now I'm scared for anyone reviewing their game. You know what, Shadow, that's an interesting point. When people review their games, when people go and they review EA, when they review the Star Wars Battlefront game, the one that had all the loot box issues and stuff, are they able to separate the bad business practice? Well, the loot box thing was related to the game directly, but are they able to separate the horrible treatment by Konami to their employees and take that and separate it from the game when doing a review? Let's see here. You hear that, everybody? If you take pics and stalk Greg at TMG, you're receiving a black eye. You're not going to receive a black eye. You'll just need a new camera. No. You can walk up and say hi and take pictures and all that stuff. But yes, if you follow me to my car and follow me to my hotel and figure out where I am staying so that you can go and knock on my door at 2 a.m, yes, it's probably, you're not going to get a physical reaction, but you are going to get a sound yelling at. I've ran into terrible fans of Shade. I don't doubt that for a second. Kanye has one good thing about him. His wife is hot and he allows her to pose. And I'm talking about boycotting, just how it is you would feel trying to watch or otherwise. Okay. Oh God, Star Wars Battlefront 2. Hydrated Bot. Holy smokes, Hydrated Bot is here. Hydrated Bot is here and has told me that I should have had at least 4 ounces of water, which I have had 4 ounces of Powerade Hydrated Bot. So hopefully that's okay. Oh my God, I'm so excited that Hydrated Bot is here. Like something I was thinking of was the NES game Magical Poppin', where the player's voice actor who died tragically young. Okay. See, that stuff right there, well, I don't have water, but let me hydrate. Hold on. Thank you, Hydrated Bot. The stuff where people died. No, Elements, I did not add that. That just happened. Unless somebody else added it and I didn't know. When stuff like that happens, when people die, I disagree with removing them from media. I disagree when a person dies and then the movie doesn't come out or the game doesn't come out or something like that. I like that stuff as a tribute to the person. I prefer to have that in there. And I like with Carrie Fisher, I think that it's great that she was in those movies. I think that the movie itself was a little questionable, but that's probably a whole nother topic. Not sponsored by Powerade. We're not sponsored by Powerade. I feel bad. I always felt bad for the people sponsored to show off that Star Wars game. Yeah, Shade, that's one thing that I always do feel bad about is when you see actors having to shill movies or people having to sell these games and they have to sit there and go, oh, it's a good game, and really they're like dying inside because they have to say it. Yeah, in memory of Tag at the end. Yeah, I like that stuff. I get not a kick out of it, but it makes me happy when I see, Paul Walker. People can, for some reason, people bash Paul Walker and his death and stuff, and I think that he seemed like a decent guy. I never heard anything bad about him in the media, and it sucked when he died. I like that they managed to get him into that last movie. You know what I mean? And I feel like they should have left him out of the 8th movie, but they finished the 7th movie and he sort of rode off into the sunset type thing, and I like that. We're sponsored by Pepsi. Pepsi, give us free stuff. Sponsored by Aggressive Greg. If you stalk him to his house. Yeah, Spider. That's why I said that. I see those celebrities and they don't like the attention and stuff, and people say, oh, well, why do you go to places where there's because yeah, there are some of those real famous restaurants where paparazzi just hang out. If you go to the famous restaurant where paparazzi are, you have no right to get mad at them. But when you're at the supermarket with your kids and there's a paparazzi following you around and taking pictures of you going in and out, dude, come on, man. One of my favorite things is Bruce Willis being interviewed for the Rugrats Wild Thornberrys film because he was the voice of Spike. He really didn't want to be there. Oh, man. I can imagine him just like, I kind of wish I could just die hard right now. All right. Let's take a bit of a break. We're going to take a few minute break. How is paparazzi even a legal profession? Paparazzi is a legal profession because they're taking pictures outside. Technically, they're not supposed to be going into buildings to take pictures of people. They can only be in public spaces. Yeah, if you're invading someone's casual daily space, it's too much. I'm terrible at social interaction when nobody knows who I am. I prefer it that way. No, I to be honest, you know what? I actually do want to talk about that. That's just a little it's a little quick thing, but I want to get into it after the break. So yeah, we're gonna take a couple minute break. Let me rehydrate. Maybe I'll go and actually get some water, and then we will come right back and pick up on something else. And I will see you guys in a bit.